looking at is figures, and this came out of a conversation I've been having with somebody in Australia over the last fortnight, so I thought we'd just quickly run through it. Is that the figure on the left is the one that's produced in Make Human, and it's the only uniform that I can find, and what I was making here was a set of station staff. The Make Human one there, which is done to the proportion and the height of a 5'10" man, as it were. I then import that into Blender, and all I do in Blender then is create poses. So it's repose it, STL it, repose it, STL it, repose it, STL it, etc. So therefore, from the one pose, I can get as many poses as I like from the one character. In this case, we've got 7. The next thing I do then is to take the one character, and within my slicer, I alter his size, alter his height by 1 millimeter, plus, minus, alter his frame size in width and depth, and also mirror. So in that way, I can take the one pose and get as many as I like, different ones, different heights, different sizes. I know people have done this in Blender and kept saving it. I find this is a very quick way of doing it. So we then end up with, if I go into Chitterbox there, and it's quite easy, is that basically go into the scale command, and you can see that particular woman is 21 millimeters. So I'm going to make some at 20 millimeters. So there's the 20 millimeters. Now obviously I can copy her. Forgot how to copy now. There we apply, and then you can take that one, and I've not started using this new one yet properly. You can put that one into mirror mode to mirror, and then you can just highlight on them and just sort of change them. So you can change that up to, don't take the locks off. Right, and then we can change that one, say, to 8, and leave that one at 9, or change it to 10. Alter the height, bring it down to 18, and then we've got a different shape to our original one. And if you mirror them as well, so what I haven't quite got used to this new Chitterbox yet, but if I pull up my old one, you can see these two here, they're both the same model. One's been mirrored left and one's been left as it is. And then you just sort of alter the sizes and the mirroring to whatever you want, really. This came about because the chap from Australia had done his humankind. He put it into Blender. He created the STL, he put it into Chitterbox, and he couldn't see it because it was that small. Then he did another one, and it was that big it completely filled the screen, and didn't realise that in Slicer you can resize. And I use Slicer for resizing my models. I just find it a lot easier. And for things like the station staff or workmen, where they're all basically the same overalls and uniform, then I change them in that way. And the other thing he had problems with, of course, he was trying to print them on their feet without turning them over. Now, I find that 45 degree is the best angle. And you can see I don't have much in the way of supports there. You don't need support on these uprights. So with figures, as with most things really, I look for the weakest part, and the weakest part on here is the fingers. So I try and orientate the figure such that the figures are printed in an upright position. This is on resin printed, so of course it's upside down. And then you can just put the supports in. Now that bed there, you can see fairly minimum support really on that one. If we go into support, we can see, whoops, wrong one. So you can see the supports on that one there. Not many at all. And that prints out perfectly. Always make sure you've got one at the lowest point and a fairly substantial one. but the fingers will all come out well, and the feet, because you're all going at the right angle, as it were. But the main thing was to get across on this one is to use Chitterbox for your scaling. Now, I tend to do, if you're mirroring, then I will do the mirror after I've done the supports. It saves me doing 2 with supports. But the sizing, it doesn't like doing that. So your best bet is to size them before you put the supports on. And I tend to use auto supports exclusively, and then just have a quick check. The only thing I do with figures, I do an auto support, and all I do is reinforce and make sure I've got one at the bottom of the head. The only other problem that you get sometimes is, and I've had this with, I'm not sure whether it's being done by Humankind or Blender, is you end up with a hole inside where the head is, which mucks up the printing. Now, I know, and Eddie has shown me how to solve that in Blender, but to be honest with you, I find it quicker to run NetFab with the slicer program, and that repairs any holes that are in there. Because I can load in 10 or 12 or many figures that I like in one go, and then run NetFab them all, and then resize them in Prusa and then I export those STLs back out to import into Chitterbox. It sounds a long way round, but I found Prusa Slicer gave me a better result than the early Chitterbox. The later Chitterbox I've not really tried yet, so I've yet to try it because it's got more stuff in, so that might allow me to eliminate the actual slicer bit. But my time in Make Human is very short. I just take the figure, have it as it is, shove some clothes on it, whatever, into Blender, change the pose, STL, change the pose, STL, etc. And then check the STLs in Prusa Slicer. It's a system that works for me, and I've got now more figures than I can cope with. But of course, I have not been able to eliminate the end problem, which is the painting of them.